Is winged liner stressing you out? Grab some surgical tape. This trick gives you sharp wings in seconds, and even if it's not spot on, I'll show you how to fix it. I'll also show you it in black and brown so you can decide if you want a more subtle or bold look. I'm using surgical tape instead of scotch tape this time because it's softer and more flexible. Scotch tape's a little bit more rigid, so you're more locked into a straight edge. Surgical tape just gives you that bit more control and comfort on the skin. This time we're cutting 2 strips for the eyes, and like we did with the scotch tape, we want to remove a little bit of that residual stickiness so that it doesn't tug on that delicate eye skin. To do this, just run it on the back of your hand once, and that will take away a little bit of that tack. Now for placement, we always want to lift the outer corner of the eye. You want to imagine that there is an invisible line that continues from your lower eyelash line upwards. This is a great trick if you have subtle hooded eyes. You are able to choose how small you want this wing to be, and a baby wing often means you can avoid that fold on the outer edge. So on this eye, I'm going to create a slightly smaller wing. The front of the tape is going to be on top of the eyelash line in line with the pupil of your eye. Don't be afraid to lift your tape up if it's not quite right and replace it. And then when it crosses over with the tape on the outer edge, don't take it too high up. This will keep the wings slightly smaller. The beauty about this look is you don't have to use brushes. You can simply use your finger. So taking a matte black eyeshadow, I'm going to run this over the tape and fill in that little template that we've created in the shape of a winged liner. It is a good idea to look down into a mirror when you do this because it stretches the skin, and this enables you to essentially colour in that eyelid skin for a very seamless finish. If you need to go in with a couple of coats, do so, and make sure you really get on that outer corner, but be careful not to lift the tape, otherwise it will distort your sharp wing. When you peel that tape away, hold the skin taut with your other hand and pull the tape back on itself. That way you avoid tugging on that delicate eye area. To prevent getting messy, remove the tape in reverse order that you applied it. So for me, that's the top tape and then the bottom tape. And as you can see, it's revealed the perfect baby wing. You can obviously make this smaller if you like, and if you want to make it slightly sharper, just simply pull out that outer corner with a tiny flat brush. All it's doing is pulling that eyeshadow out a little bit further, and then this is a nice way to extend that wing slightly, but again, that's completely optional. What I would recommend is going in with a small brush and a tiny amount of that eyeshadow and working it between the root of your eyelashes, because sometimes you can still see the skin there, and for it to look seamless we need to just colour that in. You can also do that before you remove the tape. Next up, you want to give your eyelashes a curl. I like the Refa eyelash curler, but I also like this small one if you have smaller eyes or you have very stubborn straight eyelashes. As always, everything I've used or recommended will be listed and linked in the description bar. So curling the eyelashes is a great way to open up the eyes and make them look more awake, but it does mean that we can see a little bit of this flesh colour underneath the top lash line. As a professional makeup artist, this is a bugbear of mine, but it doesn't mean you need to follow suit. If it doesn't bother you, you do not need to fill it in. I personally like to use either a liquid eyeliner or a waterproof gel eyeliner and work this between the root of your eyelashes underneath your top lash line. This gives a much more seamless finish to your eyeliner. As I'm not going to be demonstrating any false eyelashes today, we're going to make the most of our natural eyelashes with an eyelash primer. This is like a white mascara that turns clear. It thickens your natural eyelashes so that when you go in with your mascara, it makes them look fuller and a little bit more dramatic without having to apply layers of mascara. My preference is by Lancome, and again I will link them in the description bar for you. Okay, moving on, I'm going to show you how to do this with brown, but I'm also going to tweak this slightly so that the eyelash line isn't perfect, so I can just show you how I would fix it if your shape is slightly off. For this one, I'm going to extend the outer corner a little bit further. To do this, I've taken the tape slightly higher where it meets the lower tape on the outer edge. This time, for a more subtle finish, I'm taking a medium brown eyeshadow. Starting on that outer corner, I'm swiping down towards the lash line, looking down into a mirror to stretch that skin, and then also before removing that tape, making sure I keep the skin taut with a finger from the opposite hand. Remember to repeat this for your lower eyelash line, because as you can see, it really can still tug on the skin even if you've removed some of that tack. We're going to repeat the same process by going in with a very small brush at the root of the eyelashes to coat that with the same coloured eyeshadow so it looks nice and seamless. And then again, if you want to extend that on the outer edge slightly further, use a brush just to pull at the eyeshadow and it will extend the colour in a nice sharp wing, but again, completely optional. Like before, you want to expose the top lash line so that if you want to fill it in you can, but also give your lashes a nice lift to really open up the eyes. Just so you know, the product I'm using here is the Wet n Wild Mega Liner. I love this because it stays in place all day. Then I'm coating my eyelashes in the eyelash primer before going in with some mascara. So I'm just going to point out the area that we're going to fix in a short while. Here we have a very slight uneven line that is accentuated when I'm looking straight ahead. It's very easy to fix, which I'll show you how to do shortly. First, here's a quick way to make your eyes look more sultry without closing them up. I'm taking a gel eyeliner because it's longer wearing, and I'm starting at the outer corner of the lower waterline and I'm bringing it halfway in, stopping in line with the pupil. As you reach the centre, taper the liner down into the lash roots so it softens it off rather than just ending in a harsh stop. And then if you prefer, you can also blink down onto the belly of the brush to coat your upper waterline. Some people find this a more comfortable way to coat the upper waterline. And that's a nice way to make the eyes look a bit more sultry but without completely closing them up and making them look smaller by going along the entire length of the lower waterline. Okay, time to fix this uneven line on the top lid. It looks straight when I'm looking down, but when I look up it is slightly distorted, and that's the angle that matters most. My mirror will get out of the way in a moment, so to correct it we're going to take a small angled brush with a touch of foundation, and I'm just working my brush backwards and forwards over the area that has a slight hump to it, so that when I look up the line is much more seamless. So we're just going to continue to work on this slightly, and I'm just bringing it down towards that lash line to straighten it up so that when I look straight into a mirror that bump is no longer there. Again, you can perfect this with the placement of your tape to begin with, but this is a great tip if your line is not perfect. It literally takes a few seconds and voila, as you can see the before and after, we've removed that tiny hump and it now looks like a seamless line. So that is how you perfect it if for any reason your tape is ever so slightly distorted. If you try this, let me know how it goes and tell me in the comments, would you wear the brown or the black version? If you love smoky liner hacks, check out last week's cotton bud tutorial here. It will be the easiest smoky liner you've ever tried, or if you want something bolder, you can try this smoky eye, which I also used tape and mostly my fingers for, and literally takes seconds to do. And then if you have hooded eyes and winged liner on the top lid is just a no-go for you, try this hack here. A smoky wing from your lower eyelash line prevents you fighting with your top lid. As I mentioned, all the products I've used are linked in the description box. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss future tutorials. And if you found this helpful, share it with a friend or save it so you can try it for later. I upload new tutorials every week, so there's always something fresh for you to learn. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.